You know the exact feeling, right? You spend hours and hours meticulously setting up your tank, everything is perfect, and then you spot one innocent-looking, tiny hitchhiker on a new fern you brought home. And boom. 2 weeks later, you're spending your entire evening scrubbing hundreds of rapidly multiplying pond and bladder snails off your aquarium glass. It is just incredibly frustrating to watch your pristine aquascape get taken over like that. But what if the absolute best way to get rid of a raging snail infestation is actually with another snail?
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at a fascinating, highly effective natural solution straight from the aquatic world. We're going to break down absolutely everything you need to know about deploying our favorite tiny aquatic hitman, the assassin snail.
Okay, let's dive into this. Clea helena, widely and affectionately known in the hobby as the assassin snail, is a predatory freshwater snail native to the slow-moving rivers and streams across Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. You can easily spot them patrolling a tank in their striking, cone-shaped shells painted in alternating yellow and dark brown spiral bands. It literally looks like tiny aquatic hazard tape. And here's the best part for aquascapers. They are completely plant-safe. They aren't going to munch on your expensive flora or bully your fish. Their entire diet and existence in your tank strictly centers on hunting down other mollusks.
Section 1. Speed and Strategy. Getting Results. So how exactly do these slow-moving ambush predators actually operate once you finally drop them into the water? 1 to 4. That number right there is the concrete reality of their hunting pace. A single adult assassin snail will eat roughly one small pest snail every 1 to 4 days. Now, it depends entirely on the size of the prey they take down and the assassin's own hunger level. But think of them like microscopic ninjas. They're highly methodical. Out in the wild and in your tank, they'll spend a large portion of the day buried completely out of sight in the substrate, just waiting patiently to ambush smaller, unsuspecting snails when night falls. Which brings us to a huge misconception we really need to clear up right away. The pervasive myth in the hobby is that you drop a couple of these guys in and bam, you get an instant overnight wipeout of all your pests. The reality? Well, because they're gradual and methodical hunters, achieving full control of a moderate infestation naturally takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. It's a biological process, not magic, you know? If you have a heavily overpopulated 20-gallon tank that's just covered in bladder snails, you can't rely on just one single hitman to do the job. You might need a dedicated team of 4 to 6 assassins working together around the clock.
And this brilliantly illustrates why they are the absolute best long-term fix for your aquarium. Manual removal by hand? We all know it requires high daily effort. You're constantly soaking your sleeves, and honestly, it never ever fully solves the root problem. Chemical molluscicides might act fast, sometimes in 1 to 3 days, but they're incredibly risky, potentially crashing your cycle and harming shrimp or sensitive fish. Lettuce traps? Just tedious nightly chores. Assassin snails give you the ultimate balance. They offer a permanent, natural solution that is incredibly safe for your adult shrimp, and they take virtually zero daily effort from you once they're in the water.
Section 2. Ideal tank setup. Conditions for success. Because to get the best work from your hitman, you absolutely have to provide the correct environment.
First off, temperature should sit nicely and stably between 70 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Crucially, they need a pH of 7.0 to 8.0 and a general hardness of 8 to 15 DGH. They absolutely need this slightly alkaline hard water to pull minerals and build strong, healthy shells. Dropping them into overly soft, acidic water will actually cause their shells to pit, crack, and erode over time, which is terrible. You're going to want a minimum tank size of 5 gallons, allowing roughly 1 gallon of water per snail so they have enough territory. And please, pay strict attention to the substrate requirement. 1 to 2 inches of fine sand or smooth gravel is mandatory. Because they spend the day fully buried, coarse or sharp gravel can severely and permanently injure their soft foot. Now, when you're finally ready to bring them home, follow these steps to avoid introducing a new problem to your ecosystem. Step 1. Gently rinse the new snails in some tank water to remove any potential parasites or invisible pest eggs clinging to their shells. Step 2. Always quarantine them for 1 to 2 weeks. Step 3. When moving them to your display tank, use a fine mesh aquarium net. This is so important. Standard, coarse nets can easily catch on their unique shells or tear their foot, causing unnecessary trauma before they even start their job.
Section 3. Tank mates and breeding. Who is safe and what to avoid? Let's address the anxiety most keepers have. Are these assassins going to go completely rogue and harm the rest of the peaceful community tank?
You can breathe a sigh of relief. They are 100% safe with healthy fish and adult shrimp. They're simply far too slow to chase anything actively swimming, and they have absolutely zero interest in fin nipping. Your beloved community staples like tetras, livebearers, guppies, and coreodoras are going to confidently coexist with them without a single issue.
So, the crucial point is, who is actually at risk? Well, assassin snails can and sometimes will eat tiny baby shrimp that are under a week old. They'll also opportunistically go after shrimp that are highly vulnerable, like those right in the middle of molting or sick and dying shrimp. They will also gladly eat small juvenile decorative snails, like young neorites or mystery snails, if they're small enough to overpower. If you're running a very strict, dedicated shrimp breeding tank, adding assassin snails is a calculated risk, and most experienced keepers recommend keeping their numbers very low or skipping them altogether if maximum shrimp yield is your primary goal.
Now, what's really interesting about this is it dispels the massive fear that your assassins will just become the next unmanageable infestation. Look at the stark biological contrast here. Pest snails are hermaphrodites that self-fertilize, literally cloning themselves exponentially and aggressively laying dozens of messy eggs weekly. Assassin snails, on the other hand, actually have separate male and female sexes. They literally have to find a mate, court, and breed. When they do, the females lay individual eggs incredibly slowly, usually encased in tiny, square-shaped capsules tucked into corners. Because of this, their population growth is wonderfully gradual and completely effortless to manage.
But that brings up a very logical next question. What does our tiny aquatic hitman do when the contract is finished and all the pest snails are completely eradicated from the glass? Do they just starve to death?
Not at all. Once the pests are completely gone, they basically go on vacation and pivot to becoming highly efficient scavengers. You can easily and reliably sustain them long-term by simply dropping in sinking algae wafers 2 to 3 times a week. They also happily feast on protein-rich treats like thawed frozen bloodworms, brine shrimp, or honestly, even just the everyday leftover fish food that happens to sink down to the bottom. You never have to worry about them starving out just because the hunt is over.
To sum this all up, relying on Clea halina really is the most effective, low-effort way to reclaim your aquarium glass and protect your sanity. They're the ultimate biological fix, actively restoring balance to your tank exactly how nature intended.
Are you ready to clear your tank and finally take back control of your glass? Head over to tankzen.co/blog to grab their live 3 to 5 packs of assassin snails. Pick up an API test kit to precisely dial in those water parameters, and read the full comprehensive setup guide. Because honestly, why spend another